Gillespie and Ginola both pulled off, but they're playing today, and on their day, obviously, they're both match winners.
Well, you wouldn't think, would you, that these supporters have had the traumas that they've had. They're in very good spirits. They're not resigned to seeing the Championship go to Old Trafford again. They feel that Middlesbrough's manager, Brian Robson, a Newcastle supporter in his youth, can do this team a massive favour against the club that he used to play for. To be fair to these supporters, they've not had too much to disappoint them at home. Stevie Charlton, their face of the season, has only seen Newcastle lose once here, and that was to Manchester United. So if United do go on to take the title, having beaten Newcastle twice, Newcastle really can't have too many complaints that the better team has taken the Championship.
Well, I arrived at the ground early this morning, Robert. I bumped into him, and he was telling me that when he used to play, he scored 7 goals in one game. I said, it must be as a centre-forward. He said, no. He said, I played on the right wing.
Well, of course, if they got 6 goals here today in Newcastle, then Manchester United only managed a draw, then that would be enough to give them the title, because they're 6 goals worse off in terms of goal difference. Tottenham, the visitors, aren't just the supporting cast at the end of the season. They've got a European place to battle for, very much locked in combat with Arsenal, Everton and Blackburn for that. A truly electric atmosphere as the Geordie fans give their team a rousing end-of-season welcome. All is not lost, they believe. And whatever happens at the Riverside, they want the season to end on a high and a positive note. This is the team that Newcastle end the season with. It's their 3rd game in 7 days, but after Thursday's draw at the City Ground, it is the same starting 11. So no Faustino Asprilla again, as Keith Gillespie makes his first home start in 3 months.
Well, it's imperative they win today, and obviously they have to score goals. Key player for me is Les Ferdinand, who's not been in best form since the turn of the year, but he'll welcome back Peter Beardsley alongside him. Peter was outstanding on Thursday. For me, the man of the match, scored an absolutely brilliant goal. The wide players, Gillespie and Ginola, back together, and obviously Les is looking for a constant supply from wide areas.
Tottenham had a scare over striker Chris Armstrong, but crucially, he plays despite a knee injury in Thursday's victory at Leeds. So Spurs too are unchanged, as Darren Anderton continues his late bid to make Terry Venables' Euro 96 squad.
Well, the Spurs lineup is identical in terms of shape to that of Newcastle. It's interesting to compare the 2 England players, Teddy Sheringham and Peter Beardsley, both playing in similar roles. Sheringham behind Armstrong, Beardsley behind Ferdinand.
Well, Kevin Keegan's strained emotions showed on Monday, but he seems calm and relaxed before this match. Peter Beardsley, about whom Keegan has eulogised so often, is the man responsible for the title race reaching the final Sunday. He's twice a Championship winner himself before, and when he won his first one for Liverpool back in 1988, he scored the goal that clinched it, and it was against Tottenham. But Newcastle are only too aware of the threat posed by players coming back to their homeland, and Chris Armstrong was born in Tottenham. They're hoping he doesn't do to them what Graham Fenton did in the match at Blackburn Rovers. But also coming back amongst his own is Rule Fox, who only left Newcastle in October. He made 4 appearances for them at the start of the campaign. So if they do pull off the impossible and win the Championship, Fox won't actually collect a medal because he's 6 appearances short of the required total. They're basking in the sunshine, and it's a little too hot for the headwear that some of the Newcastle fans have opted for, but it's a shades day It's also a day, I'm sure, on the terraces for transistor radios and portable telephones. And for supporters who are here, it will be a tremendous experience. It's 1927 since Newcastle last won the title. They're trying to end that 69-year wait. It's before the time of many of these supporters, and they want something to remember this season by. The referee is Dermot Gallagher, refereeing his second match at St James's Park in a row. He was in charge of the match against Southampton. He's also in charge of the FA Cup final next week. But will he be in charge of a Manchester United team seeking their second league and cup double? Newcastle are the only team that can deny them part one. But it's Tottenham Hotspur who'll get this match underway. The Football Association have made absolutely certain that it's synchronised across the country, a 4 o'clock kick-off in every match. And we'll be keeping you in touch with all the scores from elsewhere. The vital thing for Newcastle, though, is that they win. They can't think too much about that 6-goal deficit in goal difference terms. Here's Elliott. Early touch for Lee. David Batty will be particularly keen to redeem himself for the mistake that led to Nottingham Forest equaliser on Thursday. Here's Gillespie, great favourite of the fans. Wants to etch his name in North-East folklore, and he's run a corner. Beardsley and Gillespie combining. Fox in the way.
Great start by Newcastle. Run immediately on the corner. They got 2-on-1. Spurs caught a little bit sleeping. Only Edinburgh came out for it. Gillespie and Beardsley got the initiative, but couldn't quite provide the cross.
Beardsley will try to provide from this corner. Albert was the player coming in. Newcastle are always a threat from corners, as they showed to Leeds on Monday. Spurs dangerous though on the break, and this is Fox with Armstrong and Sheringham ahead of him. Tried to play it into Sheringham, and Peacock got back. Howells has made the burst, and was a challenge from David Batty that went unpunished, and Howells unhappy about that, although Batty says he dived.
Well, you can't quite see from that, but I tell you what, there were a few hearts in the mouth here in Newcastle. They were immediately in trouble, were they, Newcastle, from the corner, because they broke so quickly. I thought Fox rather delayed it, because Anderton made a great break on the left. Should have given it to him much earlier. But when the chance did come, there were shouts from Spurs for a penalty, but the evidence wasn't clear.
Tottenham switching their wings. Anderton has now moved back out to the right, with Fox over on the left-hand side. Anderton will take the kick after the foul on Armstrong.
I don't think it was a foul, Rob. I think it was a handball from Elliott. Found himself on the floor in a little bit of trouble.
Where will Darren Anderson place it? Onto the head of Mabbott! And it flashes wide.
What a great chance that was. Beautiful ball from Anderton. Free header from Mabbott. I really expected that to end up in the back of the net. I was more than surprised when it went wide. And look how far it did go wide. A great chance.
Suffered something of a goal drought as Gary Mabbott. It's over 3 years since he scored his last goal in the Premiership against Everton. But there really were hearts in Newcastle mouths then. An enterprising start from both teams. Here's Gillespie. Watson trying to feed Lee.
Well, there have always been doubts, haven't there, about Newcastle, about their defending from set pieces. There were questions asked there in the opening couple of minutes, and they couldn't come up with the answers. The marking was poor. Mabbott got away from Watson and really should have put Spurs in the lead.
Here's Ginola. Early test of the handling of Walker, with Ferdinand closing in.
Nice little ball into the box from Watson. Ginola on his knee, good little turn. Cross comes shot. No problem for Walker.
Here's Watson. Trying to track the run of Beardsley, but it's well out for the goal kick. Peter Beardsley scored on January the 20th when Newcastle beat Bolton by 2-1 to go 12 points clear. It was an unconvincing win on the day. And it's since then that Manchester United gradually whittled away their lead and finally seized the initiative in the championship race. The message loud and clear from the Geordies in the build-up to this game was that it's not over yet. They've played with a very free spirit all season, and there were no plans to change that. David Batty. Knocked on by Fox to Sheringham, who's got Armstrong ahead. Peacock was prepared to leave it to his lot. There seemed a little bit of uncertainty there. Armstrong, a very pacey player.
Yes, well, his lot came out for it, and then suddenly realised he was a yard outside of his box.
Here's Anderton. Steve Watson, one of the local players in this Newcastle side. Elliott and Beardsley also born locally. Batty. Lee challenging. Gazelle winning the challenge. This is Anderton. And straight into Robbie Elliott. Wilson being forced back by David Ginola. And Walker not too emphatic with the clearance. But Ginola for the first time testing Clive Wilson. He certainly gave Dean Austin the run around in the equivalent meeting between the teams at White Hart Lane earlier in the season. Ginola actually scored in the 1-1 draw. Elliott trying to whip it in quickly to Ferdinand. Beardsley. Ferdinand laying it back. This is Watson. Gillespie's made a good run and he's slipped into a little gap there. Edinburgh goes across to close him down now. Hit it away from Lee by Howells, and this is Watson. Watson has done well. Here's Gillespie. Plenty waiting. Beardsley, chance for Ginola, and he couldn't bring it under control.
Well, that's the first chance for Newcastle, and it's fallen to Ginola. An excellent chance. You never thought I'd be saying, well, it was lack of control that lets Ginola down, but there you see it. Just needed one touch on his knee. That would have set him up for a shot. It comes from a little flick on from Beardsley. He's stretching for it.
Here's Gillespie. Kevin Keegan's mailbag was full of requests for him to return to the team during the period that he was out of the side. He's already shown a great hunger. Good work from Fox until Batty comes back. Here's Watson. Sheringham. Well, he was a long way out, was Teddy Sheringham.
Yes, he looked up and measured it. There's only one thing on Teddy's mind. He must have been 35 yards out, but I don't think his lot was too far off his line. There you can see it's only 2 or 3 yards. He's all of 6'4". Good idea, but I would have thought virtually impossible for that sort of distance to beat his lot.
Sheringham had clearly been hoping that Newcastle would have expected the ball to Anderton, who'd made a move across the edge of the penalty area. Here's Ginola. All waiting for Ginola's free kick. Headed on by Ferdinand. Knocked in again by Lee. Gazelle having to help out the defence. Sheringham's clearance in the end, and it's 2 against 2, with Armstrong finding that Watson was snapping back successfully.
Well, that's a warning there to Newcastle that when they are attacking, they can't leave themselves 2-on-2 at the back, especially when it's 2-on-2 against Fox and Armstrong. Probably the 2 quickest players on the field, apart from Les Ferdinand, of course. They're certainly the 2 quickest players in the Spurs lineup.
Almost got to see Ferdinand's burst of speed then, but Campbell neutralised the threat. And Armstrong was onside. Here's Anderton. Newcastle had pushed up there looking for the offside. Here's Edinburgh. Well, the advantage was there to be played, but wasn't played by the referee. Quick free kick to Gazelle. Armstrong with a header away. Lee has just taken a little nick to the face.
Just going back to the situation, Rob, where they were playing 2-on-2. They were fortunate, actually, that Armstrong's first touch let him down, because he would have been faced one-on-one, Armstrong, and that's not a position that defenders like to be in, because they all know that Armstrong's one of the quickest players around.
Well, Dermot Gallagher has stopped play for the moment so that Rob Lee can go and have that injury treated. Kevin Keegan quickly out to make sure that Lee will be okay to continue. This is how it happened. Challenge was Justin Edinburgh's. Here's Howells. Fox for Tottenham. Armstrong to his right. Anderton's made a useful break into the box as well. This is Sheringham lying deep, and it's played behind Watson. Fox retrieves it well. Sheringham with a header, and Hislop was always in control, but they're breaking very swiftly at Tottenham, and they're looking quite menacing as they lurch forward.
When you look at Spurs, Rob, you can see why they're so formidable away from home. They've got the perfect recipe for playing away from home. A solid defence, very well organised, a good goalkeeper, and very, very quick on the counter-attack.
Ball was Ginola's. That was asking a little too much of Gillespie to keep it in.
And I have to say that in the opening 15-20 minutes of this game, they've made Newcastle look very, very uncomfortable at times when they have broken. 1 or 2 danger warnings already flashing for the Newcastle defence.
Rob Lee's shirt may be blooded, but he's back on the field. Newcastle then back up to their full complement. Elliott. Ball came off Ginola, and it's a throw in. There's Lee. Free kick to Newcastle. Manchester City 0, Liverpool 1, a Steve Lomas own goal. So Lomas, who got the vital goal in their last match against Aston Villa, has hampered his side's course still further. Manchester City, of course, are the team trailing very much in the relegation race, and if things stay like that, it doesn't matter what happens elsewhere, they'll be the team to join Queen's Park Rangers and Bolton in the Ensley League. Elliott. Here's Lee. Ginola. Gillespie waiting for it. Edinburgh gets in ahead of him. This is Fox. All set to give Steve Watson another rigorous workout. Cuts inside though, finds Sheringham. Here's Watson. Batty. And all the way back to Ian Walker. And a crucial score from the Riverside Stadium. Manchester United have made the first breakthrough. They're leading Middlesbrough by 1-0. David May, the scorer of the goal. Here's Ginola, looking for Beardsley. Mabbutt got there. Clearance by Anderton to Sheringham. Here's Dazelle. Will Fox. Given away to David Batty. Newcastle supporters will be keen to screen that news from Middlesbrough, from the players. Here's Ginola. Running straight into Clive Wilson. Anderton under pressure. Good work from Darren Anderton. Armstrong ran into Elliott. Stayed in, said the linesman. Elliott linking up well with Ginola. Campbell trying to cover and concedes the corner.
Yes, that was good link-up play there by Newcastle. Robbie Elliott in the side, primarily for his defending. Doesn't get forward as much as John Beresford, but on that occasion, linked up well with Gillespie and did get forward.
Ginola making room for the cross. And it was important that Mabbutt got that touch. Albert was just behind. Albert will stay forward.
Yes, the last time they had a corner, it was Gary Mabbutt who was detailed to mark him. Did well, just got the header in at the appropriate time. And I think on this occasion it's Mabbutt again, because I think Beardsley's going to aim for the penalty spot.
Ferdinand was being watched by Campbell. And Albert was doing some pushing as he came in for it.
Yes, it was identical to the first corner. Mabbutt on Albert. But Mabbutt just did enough because the ball was played exactly where Albert wanted it. Good experienced campaigner, Gary Mabbutt.
In his 14th season at Tottenham and the sole survivor of their last victory in Europe back in 1984 when they won the UEFA Cup against Albert's old team, Anderlecht.
Yeah, that was a good example there to defenders. If you can't head the ball, make sure your opponent can head it.
Mistake by Peacock, and Watson trying to get him out of jail, but it's Sheringham. Here's Fox playing it into Armstrong, but he's offside.
They look very nervy, don't they, at the back? Every time Spurs break, they get players forward quickly to support Armstrong. And Newcastle don't look comfortable.
We're talking about how effective Tottenham have been away from home this season, and only Manchester United have accumulated more points away. Beardsley's offside. Whereas Kevin Keegan's team have performed very disappointingly away from home. 26 from 57 on offer, contrasts sharply with the 51 from 54 that they've collected at home.
Yes, Robert, if you look at the four teams who have beaten Spurs away from home, Blackburn, Man United, Forest and Aston Villa, four very formidable outfits.
Against a Newcastle team that's been a formidable outfit here. Manchester United, the only team to win here this season. That was in March. But Spurs making a good fight of this, and Armstrong has won the corner off Robbie Elliott.
Does a lot of his best work, Armstrong, in a right-wing position. It suits Spurs at the moment because Darren Anderton, who's lined up on the right-hand side, but isn't playing really as a wide player. He likes to play in the centre of midfield. And he's come in a lot off the line today, and that suits them.
Anderton to take Tottenham's first corner. It was Teddy Sheringham. It's a ploy they like, that.
Well, for 9 months now we've been watching that corner. We've reached the last day of the season and still they get away with it. Peacock was the nearest man to Sheringham, but he was still 3 yards off him. And if the connection had been a good one, it would have found itself in the back of the net, I'm sure.
Clearly Spurs still feel they can squeeze the last drops out of that tactical ploy.
The ball has to be right from the corner. Anderton took it, didn't give it particular height, but it was in the right area. Sheringham will do the rest.
Here's Watson. Good break from Beardsley. Good cover from Campbell. Good ball away as well from Campbell, given away by Sheringham to Watson. And here's Houts. Gazelle. Anderton. Well, he was looking for the run of Gazelle, but Steve Watson had it covered. Here's Campbell.
That was a brilliant tackle, you know, from Campbell just prior to that. Current England player Peter Beardsley thwarted by possibly a future England player in Sol Campbell. The tackle had to be timed correctly, and it was a great tackle.
He's on the brink of international recognition. He was on the bench for the match against Croatia, Sol Campbell, so he's very much part of Terry Venables' thinking. In an area where England have been struggling of late with injuries.
Yeah, because it was excellent play from Beardsley. Good link-up play with Watson. He dragged the defender in, then looked in behind, but Campbell read the situation, and his pace got him there just slightly before Beardsley.
Beardsley. Ball's under pressure. Beardsley's done well. Here's Ginola. 3 waiting in the box. Lee going in to join them as well. It's Ferdinand. Back for Lee. Didn't sit up for him. Mike for Batty! Magnificent save from Walker from Batty's shot.
That was superb play all round. Ginola did initially well. Ferdinand holds it up. Little ball from Robert Lee to Batty. Knew he had to hit it quickly. And what a save from Walker. Superb reflect action.
His work's not over. Beardsley with the corner.
And that ball's not in the arc either.
Over Albert's head, cleared by Campbell. Elliott. Finding Ferdinand. Peacock has stayed forward. Albert is in the box too. But Sol Campbell, who did such a magnificent job subduing Ferdinand in the meeting earlier in the season, isn't giving him much room today either. Ferdinand clearly has his work cut out. Beardsley's corner, onto Sheringham's head. This is where Spurs are dangerous on the break. Fox finds Anderton. Newcastle had 4 players back.
Yes, well spotted, Rob. They've obviously learned from their opening couple of corners. They left 4 players back. Fully aware of Armstrong and Fox on the counter-attack.
Pass from Robbie Elliott. Here's Ginola. And the free kick given against Darren Anderton. Newcastle's first ever match in the Premiership was against Tottenham, and it ended with defeat. So if a victory over Spurs was to bring them their first Premiership title, it would have a nice symmetrical feel to it, but with Manchester United leading at Middlesbrough, what can Beardsley provide? Mabbott got the clearance away from Beardsley.
Yes, it was a slip by the youngster Sol Campbell, but the old campaigner Gary Mabbott was sweeping up.
Elliott's cross in towards Les Ferdinand. Lee will keep it in. And there are appeals for handball against Mabbott. But the corner is Newcastle's reward. The big guns have all gone forward again. Peacock in the 6-yard box. Albert waiting at the edge. And Albert that time allowed it to run over here and Mabbott to Ferdinand.
Yes, Albert has chosen now to try and start his run from outside the penalty box. Noticeable there that Newcastle, when the corner was taken, only actually had 4 players in the 18-yard box.
Header on by Peacock. It's Edinburgh. Well, Kevin Keegan showing the angst and the frustration that he must feel. I dare say that the news from Middlesbrough of Manchester United's lead through David May has been relayed to him. They're making sure of the situation elsewhere. But they may well remember that Blackburn, who did eventually go on to take the title, actually went a goal up before losing at Liverpool on the final day of last season. Not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Ginola. Ferdinand. Lee was going for it. Campbell got in the way. Here's Batty. Batty again! Well, at the moment, Walker's most serious threat is coming from David Batty.
Yes, once again, the dangers come from Newcastle's left-hand side in the form of Ginola. It's a good dipping shot from Batty. I think Walker's got it well covered, but you feel that at the moment they are looking for a bit of inspiration, and if it's going to come from anywhere, it's going to come from Ginola. It was very disappointing on Thursday at Nottingham, but he started quite brightly in this game.
Here's Gillespie. Beardsley was calling for it. Wilson had him watched. Live wire, Peter Beardsley.
Well, that's Beardsley's favourite run, isn't it? Just nicking in behind. Ball was overplayed, didn't really give him much opportunity. But it's certainly not easy for the front two for Newcastle. Beardsley and Ferdinand. They've got a great understanding, Campbell and Mabbott. Clive Wilson, normally a left-back, very much left-footed now, playing on the right-hand side. That's the area you feel that if Newcastle are going to get in, they're going to get a little bit of success there.
Edinburgh. Steve Watson sliding in. Albert tussling with Teddy Sheringham, and Sheringham gets the cross in. Armstrong is around Elliott. Anderson was looking for it. It's an awkward one. It came awkwardly off Albert.
Well, that was poor defending there from Newcastle. Robbie Elliott completely sold himself. Armstrong was aware of him dashing in, should never have rushed in like that.
Given away by Campbell to Batty. Here's Gillespie. Trying to take on Edinburgh, and it's the defender who wins. This is Howells. He's given it away though. Batty's cross headed clear by Wilson.
This is where Elliott rushes in, gives Armstrong a chance to get across. It's a nasty one for Old Bay to deal with. Sheringham's in there.
Hislop has kept clean sheets in his last 2 home matches against Villa and Southampton. He's had 1 or 2 scares already in this game. As has Ian Walker, who's mainly seen those threats provided by David Batty, who's got a couple of goals already this season, 1 for Blackburn and 1 against them. Here's Armstrong. And Armstrong again. Armstrong to cross. Peacock's clearance is straight to Anderton. They're still looking very edgy at the back, Newcastle. Can Anderton exploit it? Well, he curled it in, but it was away from Dizelle and kind to Hislop.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Anderton was trying there, whether he looked up and tried to bend it in at the far post, or whether it was just a little chip to the back post. Only Darren would know, but in the end, it's a simple catch, isn't it?
These are tense times for the Newcastle defence. Albert looking purposeful. Ginola. Albert has stayed forward in the attack. Ginola tried to curl it.
Should have done better. Got himself a couple of yards. Decides to come inside Wilson. Just look at the room he finds. Should have measured it to the far post. He can do better than that.
We have seen him score goals from that sort of range. The one against Sheffield Wednesday he got earlier in the season. But Newcastle at the moment ahead on the attempts that they've had at goal. And Batty's 2 on target, and they're also ahead on that score. Beardsley. Jerry Francis entertains great hopes of managing in Europe for the first time next season. Once got to UEFA Cup quarter-finals with Queen's Park Rangers, whereas Kevin Keegan, of course, has played in Europe and won in Europe. He was a Champions Cup winner in 1977 with Liverpool. And the one thing that's already guaranteed about Newcastle's season is that they will be back in the UEFA Cup next season. Well, it appeared to be handball by Ginola, but it goes unpunished, and he's won the throw-in. No foul for Beardsley either. He thought he'd been bundled off by Campbell. Spurs looking to break swiftly as Sheringham spreads it to Fox. Crashing into Steve Watson. Good solid defending against the nippy Fox. Ferdinand. Gillespie. Here's Ferdinand. The lashed clearance was from David Howells. Armstrong was a little lacking in support anyway, as Elliott wins it for Newcastle. Batty. Here's Ginola. Gillespie set away by David Batty will test Edinburgh for pace. And Edinburgh, despite being grounded, won the ball from the Irishman. Sheringham. And Sheringham Foul there by Philippe Albert. Dermot Gallagher was right on the spot to see it and will take further action against the Belgian international.
Yeah, it was a bad tackle. Sheringham laid the ball off, Albert left his foot in there.
Although the stakes are high in this game, particularly for Newcastle, it's the first booking of the match after 34 minutes.
Here you see it there as Sheringham lays it off, a very late challenge.
Sheringham goes forward looking to reap the rewards of the free kick he's won. Everyone except Ian Walker is inside the half that Newcastle are defending. And Wilson takes the kick. Anderton's header. They're trying to line it up for Jason Dizelle. Sheringham's cross. Watson there ahead of Armstrong. Now can Gillespie exploit the space? Got Edinburgh to take on. Trying to make room for the cross. And he's won the corner, Keith Gillespie, and Beardsley scampering across to take it. Beardsley waiting for Peacock to take up position. Ferdinand's header down. Again, Mabbott was detailed to Mark Albert.
Yeah, not getting too much success, are they, from corners? Once again, they only put 4 players in the Spurs penalty box. I think perhaps a slight variation may help, Rob. If they would have tried a near post rather than continuing to try the penalty spot. That's what they'd look to be aiming for.
Armstrong's cross. And Sheringham is free. He tried to place it, went for finesse over power and missed the target.
If only he'd seen Dizelle, who was inside of him. Just look at the position Dizelle takes up. Good work from Armstrong. Sheringham looks up, got time. Dizelle's just inside him. You can't quite see him in the picture, but he was in yards of space. He tries to go for goal himself. He's a player of great vision, and obviously he didn't see Dizelle because he'd have had to have picked him out.
Sheringham again, putting the pressure on Peacock. And he would certainly have had Peacock and Hislop a little worried by that run. Ginola having switched sides. Getting some joy against Howells. Lee going in and getting there. Beardsley looking to follow up, and it's Wilson with the clearance. Well, Newcastle could be in trouble. Sheringham breaking. Fox to his left, Armstrong to his right. It's Rule Fox. Takes on Peacock. But he delayed it too long in the end, and Elliott made the challenge.
Well, once again, a great opportunity for Spurs. 3 on 3. Fox running at pace against Peacock. In the end, ran out of ideas.
Dizelle. Howells. Fox. Tried to over-elaborate a moment ago. And this time, outreaches Armstrong.
There wasn't a stoppage a couple of minutes ago, Rob, for that foul by Albert on Sheringham. Keegan came to the touchline to have a word with Ginola, and quite clear the message was for him to change wings with Gillespie.
Beardsley going in. And the free kick given against Peter Beardsley.
Yeah, I think it was a little touch from behind by Beardsley. Realised that he couldn't get there.
Six minutes to go to half-time then, and Newcastle have made this switch with Gillespie on the left, Ginola on the right. You ignore Kevin Keegan's instructions at your peril, as John Beresford found out. Hasn't had a sniff of first-team action since. So Ginola duly obliges.
But I have to say, Rob, I think they've missed him. do feel that part of their success, Newcastle, has been the attacking power they get from full-back areas. They don't have that today. Rob Elliott, who's primarily a defensive left-back.
Edinburgh, the Tottenham left-back, coming forward to join the attack. Slices it into the side netting. Newcastle have changed both of their full-backs in the run into the season. Since Warren Barton was cruelly exposed against Arsenal, he's barely had a sniff of first-team action as well.
When you talk about changes, from like 3 or 4 months ago, virtually the whole back five changed. Cernicek was in goal, wasn't he? Barton, Howie, Peacock was there. He still remains. And of course, Beresford was the left-back. So the team has changed somewhat.
Sheringham. This is Howells. Armstrong looking to capitalise on the deflection. Headed away by Justin Edinburgh. Latest score from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Blackburn 1. Tim Sherwood gave Blackburn the lead, but Dennis Wise has equalised for Chelsea in Glenn Hoddle's last game in charge. Lee. Gillespie. This is Albert. Ball played by Ginola in towards Les Ferdinand, and Ferdinand makes the gap for the shot.
Well, that was excellent play from Les Ferdinand. Good initial ball from Ginola. Ferdinand just spins off Cambo, sucks him in, lobs it over his head, delays it slightly, but gets the shot in with his left foot. Walker well positioned.
And it's Manchester City 0, Liverpool 2. And what about this for a story? Ian Rush, on his last league appearance for Liverpool, getting the goal to add to Steve Lomas's own goal earlier, so it looks all over for Manchester City. Turn by Lee. Sheringham. Touched by Jason Dazelle. And here is Keith Gillespie for Newcastle. Clearance. Touch back by Beardsley. And here's Chris Armstrong. Peacock covering for Newcastle. Here's Batty. His dream of becoming the first player to play in 3 different championship-winning teams looks to be fading all the time. And Gillespie unable to bring Ginola's pass under control. Ginola fuming about that.
Yeah, it was good play from Ginola. He's actually found a little bit more space as he's come on that right-hand side. He's got 1 or 2 runs in the centre of the field.
Ginola. Here is Gillespie, taking on Wilson and taking it too far.
Well, there's shouts from the Newcastle fans for a penalty, but you'll see here that was good defending from Wilson. Matches him for pace, just a little nudge, but not enough to win a penalty.
Experienced campaigner Clive Wilson, and such a good purchase from Queen's Park Rangers, when you bear in mind he cost absolutely nothing in these days of inflated transfer fees.
Yeah, I was talking to Jerry Francis prior to the game, Rob, and he was singing his praises. In fact, he said he can't understand why he hasn't won an England cap. He's been so consistent for Spurs.
Playing up against a couple of his old colleagues, Les Ferdinand being one of them, Darren Peacock the other. Here's Batty. Elliott. Header away by Gary Mabbott. Peacock, it's a risky ball. Ginola. Too much hard work being asked of Steve Watson to get there ahead of Ian Walker as we enter stoppage time in this first half.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dilemma this for Newcastle, because they really want to try and get their fullbacks forward and go and join in to put Spurs under a bit of pressure. But they're worried about doing so, Rob, because they know that if they do push forward, that's what Armstrong wants. That's what he'll exploit at the back.
Well, at half-time, it is 0-0, so the deadlock still to be broken, although David Batty has done his level best to open the scoring with 2 efforts, both saved by Ian Walker. But at half-time, it's Newcastle 0, Tottenham 0. Half-time at St James's Park, Newcastle United 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Newcastle ahead in attempts at goal, 4 of them on target, 2 of them from David Batty. Only 1 booking so far, Philippe Albert of Newcastle United, for a challenge on Teddy Sheringham, and much of the play has been inside Tottenham's half, although the majority has been around the midfield area. So, Trevor, what do you think? Do you think that Newcastle will be a little disappointed with the way things have gone so far?
Well, at the moment, the 2 managers are in the dressing room talking, and I would think that Jerry Francis is the happier of the 2. Apart from the fact that Kevin's obviously heard the result, the Manchester United winning, I would think he's slightly disappointed with the fact that they haven't created too many chances. Of those statistics there, I would think that Jerry's quite happy that they haven't really sort of given them any chances in the box. The nearest they've been to scoring is a Ginola half chance in 2 shots from Batty outside the box. I mean, the last person on the field you think would miss control of the ball would be Ginola. Technically so gifted, but this is a good chance. It comes to him, all it needed was a little control on his knee, and it would have set him up perfectly for a shot at goal.
Of course, the most serious efforts that Ian Walker has had to deal with have both come from David Batty, not exactly a renowned goal scorer.
Well, he's only scored the 1 goal so far, hasn't he, for Newcastle, and that was a blinding goal against Blackburn, but he's unlucky there. I mean, that's a brilliant save from Walker. Mabbott doesn't get great distance with a header. Little control. Well, he's almost gone over his goal line there, hasn't he, Walker? But I think he's seen it from a good distance. It wasn't too much of a problem for him.
I think the good news for Newcastle fans is the last time David Batty scored 2 in a season was when Leeds United won the title, and he's already got 2 in this campaign. Rob Lee has only got 1 goal in 1996. That was against Southampton, but he almost scored here.
Yeah, he's so good, you know, in this situation. He scored against Southampton when he gets it on his right, comes onto his left, but he can't quite get enough curl on it. Against Besson, he put it in the far corner. This time, Walker's got it well covered.
Well, let's take a look at how things are going in the other matches so far at half-time. And there's still no score in the match between Arsenal and Bolton, which has a vital bearing on Tottenham's European ambitions. Chelsea 1, Blackburn 1. Tim Sherwood's goal cancelled out by Dennis Wise. No score between Coventry and Leeds or between Everton and Aston Villa. But 2 goals for Liverpool at Main Road mean that Manchester City are all set for relegation. An own goal from Steve Lomas and a goal for Ian Rush. The vital score, of course, at the Riverside Stadium that means Manchester United are all set for the title is David May's goal for Manchester United against Middlesbrough. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Queen's Park Rangers already relegated 0. Steve Stone, the scorer of that goal, and no score between Southampton and Wimbledon or West Ham against Sheffield Wednesday. But some of those relegation scores may be completely irrelevant if, as it is at the moment, Manchester City are trailing to Liverpool. Let's have a look now at the highlights from the first half at the Riverside Stadium. Commentary from Andy Gray and Martin Tyler. United are leading at Middlesbrough, but the incentive for Spurs is that Arsenal are goalless with Bolton, so the battle for the European place is very much on. Whereas, Trevor, I would think one or two other managers have gone in at half-time feeling a little more relieved.
Well, obviously the most significant result is that at Main Road. It has certainly taken the pressure off David Pleat, Dave Merrinson and Ron Atkinson when they've heard that Man City are 2-0 down at half-time. For their teams, it's a fantastic result.
But Kevin Keegan found that the news wasn't so good. That David May goal, putting Manchester United, as if they weren't already, very firmly in the driving seat. And Newcastle gets the second half underway. Peter Beardsley and Les Ferdinand, on whom they'll be relying to score their goals. 39 they've managed between them this season. David Batty's offered the best hope in the first half. Campbell in the way of Les Ferdinand. Newcastle have not been involved in a goalless draw all season. Provided they're the scorers, they won't want that record to change here today. It's over a year, in fact, since they were involved in a 0-0 draw. That was against Manchester City. Gillespie, who started the second half on the left, which is where he was switched to during the course of the first.
Rob, that kick out there from Hislop, he must have been 2 yards outside the box when he kicked that out of his hands. I can't believe the linesman didn't spot it.
Ginola, after Mabbutt stumbled, couldn't profit immediately. He has turned up in the danger area again, and a great chance, and it's wide! How did Gillespie see that one go begging?
Well, it was a great turn from Batty. Gillespie and Ferdinand both went for it. But a good little ball from Ginola, in behind Fox. Well, that's a bad miss. There haven't been too many chances in this game, but certainly that's the best so far. Gillespie was the match winner at Leeds. Certainly should have scored there.
And Armstrong looking to release Anderton. Peacock gets across. And Anderson has won the first corner of the second half off Darren Peacock. Yellow shirts in or around the penalty area. Headed away by Lee. Here's Anderton. Cross from Anderton. Can Armstrong turn? He's won the corner again off Darren Peacock. And another latest score for you. Billy McKinlay has scored a second goal for Blackburn, who are now leading at Chelsea by 2 goals to 1.
Well, the previous corner, Rob, they tried that 6-yard box again for Sheringham.
What will Anderton try this time? Looking for Campbell. It's headed away by Ferdinand as far as Howells, but Gillespie was the man in the way. Beardsley in plenty of space if they can find him. Elliott instead looked for the more direct route to goal of Ginola. Here's Batty. Keith Gillespie. Ferdinand is charged into the box. There he is with a header. shut him down.
There's a good early ball from Gillespie, but Ferdinand gets there first, but couldn't quite get any power behind it.
Stuck on 28 goals at the moment, Les Ferdinand. Anderton's tackle. There's Peacock. Schiller. Well, Campbell had watched Beardsley's movement very closely. Albert in the way. Ferdinand trying to get between Mabbott and Campbell. It was Mabbott's header back, and Ferdinand wasn't giving up the chase, and he went in too strongly on the smiling Ian Walker for Dermot Gallagher's liking.
Well, he certainly went on the challenge on Walker, but it didn't seem over-robust to me. Well, there's not too much wrong with that. I think the linesman actually flagged, and that's why Dermot Gallagher gave the free kick. Straightforward challenge.
Ginola. Spurs throw it. Since Tottenham were last involved in European competition, and Jerry Francis craves the opportunity to pit his skills and his team's skills against the best of continental opposition. That option is very much available to them, the way things are going at the moment, with Arsenal being held. But Newcastle are hoping to frustrate those dreams. And they're still praying for a miracle from Middlesbrough. To cause Walker an anxious moment or two.
Well, every time he breaks forward, the end result is always a shot. In 9 times out of 10, it's a shot that's going to present a problem to the keeper. Walker's had to watch that all the way. I think it was always slightly going over his crossbar, but he couldn't be certain.
Hustles forward with great purpose and determination as Philippe Albert, and he's contributed 6 goals to the campaign already.
Whenever he does come forward, Rob, you always feel something's going to happen.
Headed down by Ferdinand. Campbell's clearance. Well, Armstrong holding his head after the challenge by Peacock. But it's Spurs breaking with Sheringham knocking it back to Raw Fox. And a disappointing final effort from the former Newcastle man.
Well, whereas the shot from Albert sat up nicely from the volley, that one for Fox didn't do, and he rather snatched at it.
Armstrong is playing on despite feeling the effects of Darren Peacock's earlier challenge. Here's Ginola. Gazelle being forced back by Batty. Albert. Neatly away from Anderton. And he strides through Campbell. Challenge by Wilson was an absolutely vital one. Another determined, persistent run from Philippe Albert.
Well, the run was full of promise, but I have to say the end result is nil. Bit of a Roy of the Rovers attack that was. I think Gillespie was wide on the left. I think that would have been the obvious choice. But I think there's a little bit of frustration from Albert, seeing that his colleagues can't break the deadlock. He's trying to do it by himself.
Sheringham went in to apply the pressure from the back pass. Nice lay-off from Ginola. Picked in that pass from Watson. Watson available and being used. Here's Beardsley. Watson has stayed in the area. Ferdinand will attack it. And Gillespie was waiting to apply a finishing touch to Ferdinand's knockdown. Beardsley made the opening.
Well, that's brilliant play from Beardsley. Just works himself a little angle, plays it in blindly, into the space. Ferdinand reacts. Can't get it quite enough power on it, but it was a great move, wasn't it?
Newcastle showing shades of their old selves. First half was punctuated by uncertainty, particularly in defence. This time they have caught Armstrong offside.
It's that type of ball, you know, that unhinges defences. They don't know when it's coming in. A little bit of magic from Beardsley, just spins off his marker, makes himself a yard, plays into an area where he's hoping Ferdinand's going to be. He reacts. It could have been the back of the net.
Beardsley, another nice flick. Howells was holding off Ferdinand. Here's Ginola. Cross towards Les Ferdinand again, and Beardsley will challenge! Crucial piece of defending from Howells.
That's another identical ball, this time from Ginola. Doesn't have to beat his man, just gets a yard, plays it into the danger area, and Ferdinand will do the rest for you.
Ferdinand comes to meet the corner, but Dazelle has met it first. Batty. Clearance to Steve Watson. Given away by Beardsley to Armstrong. Sheringham has three players to his left. One of them was Anderton. Elliott in the way first time. It's Darren Anderton's cross, aimed towards Chris Armstrong. Fox's flick on. This is Jason Dazelle. Great chance for Dazelle, and it's 1-0 to Tottenham. Despair for Kevin Keegan as Jason Dazelle puts his team a goal down with his third goal of the season.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant play from Dazelle. Armstrong keeps it in the danger area, completely turns Peacock, and look at that for a cool finish. Don't always need power. Back onto his right foot, just looks up, curls it with his right foot inside the far post. Magnificent finishes from Dazelle.
Jason Dazelle may well have killed off Newcastle's lingering hopes of winning the 1996 FA Carling Premiership. And as if the news from here wasn't bad enough, more bad news coming in from the Riverside Stadium, where it's Middlesbrough 0. Ginola with a shot, and he's hit the crossbar.
Well, I think Walker gets a touch to this. It's a great effort from Ginola, but just look at the reaction from Walker. Well, that's what the booing's all about. Totally unexpected, the shot from Ginola. Well, it's inconclusive, but I think the fans felt that he did get a touch. And if he did, it was a magnificent save.
And the bad news I was halfway through giving you is that Manchester United are 2-0 up now against Middlesbrough. And there's even worse news in a minute when I tell you who scored it. Because it was Andy Cole, the man that Kevin Keegan felt he could release from Newcastle. He's come on as a substitute for Manchester United and has scored the second goal at the Riverside Stadium. Well, was it Walker's touch that prevented Ginola from scoring?
Well, it's a magnificent effort, isn't it, from Ginola? Yes, I think he did get a touch.
A vital touch, although he wasn't exactly holding up his hands to admit to it. And Campbell's mistake, but Mabbutt gets him out of trouble. Albert. Played through by Anderton.
Well, Andy Cole's got the second goal for Man United, Rob. What odds would you give me on Real Fox getting the second goal here for Spurs?
I wouldn't I wouldn't take you up on it. Cross aimed towards Ferdinand, headed away. As far as Watson. Here's Lee. Peter Beardsley. Flicked on by Lee. Dazelle, the goal scorer, with the clearance, and Walker picks it up. At Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 1, Blackburn 3, and the scorer, another wound to Newcastle this, it's Graham Fenton, the man who did so much damage to their championship aspirations with the 2 goals he scored against Newcastle at Ewood Park. It seems to be one of those days when the world has ganged up against Kevin Keegan's team. Mabbutt blocking Ferdinand's route to goal.
Well, he blocked it with a good tackle, but Ferdinand found himself in the space. He could have let fire with his left foot.
Crucial thing about the scoreline here now is that as long as Arsenal are being held, Tottenham are in the driving seat for the European place. Campbell's clearance. And Ginola keeping it in play. But the extra difficulty provided by Anderton when Wilson was already causing him enough problems. Beardsley. Good run from Beardsley. It falls to Lee. And Howells is so quickly across. This Tottenham defence so alert. Supremely organised, and Newcastle just cannot prise them open. Dazelle's clearance. Here's Anderton. Fox now is breaking to join Armstrong in the attack. It's Armstrong. He's bought Newcastle a little bit of time. They've pulled 5 men back now. It's headed away by Peacock. This is Dazelle. Sheringham has 3 waiting in or around the edge. Fox. Darren Anderton. Fine volley from Anderton after the 2 goals he scored on Thursday.
Great bit of passing there. Fox, Dazelle, first time volley from Anderton. Scored 2 on Thursday. Obviously up, full of confidence. Fancied his luck with his left foot on the volley.
Beardsley. Losing out to Howells. And here's Gillespie. Headed away by Mabbutt, only as far as Peter Beardsley. Given away by him to Wilson.
Well, you feel that with less than half an hour to go, Kevin Keegan's got to come up with something different. He's got 1 or 2 very, very useful players on the bench. The other night at Nottingham, Asprilla, as we just leave it there.
Ginola.
I was saying that Asprilla only saw 3 minutes of action of the night at the City Ground. I think he's got to consider bringing him on very, very soon. They need something different to try and open up this Spurs defence.
Lee feeding it through, but Ferdinand couldn't connect. A lot of people feel that Ferdinand has been the loser as a result of Faustino Asprilla's arrival at Newcastle. Certainly the goals have dried up for Ferdinand since Asprilla joined the club, but they need something clever now to open up a Spurs defence that's been so rigidly disciplined and well organised. Campbell.
The one thing with Asprilla, Rob, is he can do something different. I mean, at times his teammates don't know what he's going to do. But there's that little bit of unpredictable play that just may open up something here, because they do need something of inspiration.
Newcastle going stale as their title aspirations fade into the distance. Manchester United 2 up at the Riverside Stadium, and Newcastle trailing to Jason Dizzel's goal. Can Ginola open up the defence? Straight at Ian Walker. Ginola shot.
Well, he seems to find himself plenty of space coming in onto his right foot. But if he's going to try a shot at goal against Walker, it's got to be something better than that.
Park Rangers look to be bowing out of the Premiership with another defeat. Nottingham Forest 2-0 up now. Brian Roy adding to Steve Stone's goal. And the header back by Darren Peacock to Shaka Hislop. Ginola. 4 black and white shirts to his right. Ginola teasing his way through, but not past Clive Wilson. Losing out to Armstrong, and this will be a test for the Newcastle defence. Sheringham feeding Fox. Armstrong and Sheringham are both in the area. Batty is the player who's come back.
Well, what a wasted opportunity that was for Spurs. Once again, when they broke, there was 3-on-3.
Ferdinand. Good turn of speed from Ferdinand, but Campbell solid. Whenever one of those central defenders has been beaten, the other one has been rapidly across to cover.
Yes, Ferdinand turned Mabbutt, but he ran straight into Campbell. Got to move the ball, at least bring it away from him. It went straight into him.
Fox. And Chris Armstrong was offside. A reminder of the situation as it stands, with 3 issues to be decided in the Premiership today. The title, who would be relegated, and the last European place. Manchester United bound for the title. Ginola comes forward and hits it! And it's screaming wide of Walker's post.
Well, once again he comes inside, but this time he shoots with the laces. Whereas before he tried the corner. That's driven. And that's the nearest he's come to scoring.
Substitution by Tottenham Hotspur.
And Spurs are taking off Sol Campbell and bringing on Colin Calderwood. Campbell, who hopes to be part of England's Euro 96 squad, and Calderwood, who hopes to be in Scotland's plans for the Championship. And they're not the only changes, because Newcastle are changing things around too. Off come Gillespie and Peter Beardsley, and on come Faustino Asprilla and Lee Clark.
Well, I would think that one is tactical, that's the Newcastle one, but I would think that the Spurs one was forced upon them. I don't know what the injury is, but I presume that Campbell has got some sort of injury, because he's been outstanding in this game. And I would think that Ferdinand is absolutely delighted that he's off the field.
New customer for the Spurs defence to deal with, now that Asprilla has also entered the fray. But just to underline that Spurs are very much in the driving seat for that last European place, with Arsenal being held and Jason Dizzel's goal putting them ahead here. And Manchester City, it seems, set to be relegated. They're trailing by 2-0 at home to Liverpool. Watson jinked his way through and tried to measure the shot.
Clever play from Watson. Just a little curler with his left foot.
because of an injury problem. It's Teddy Sheringham who's down.
The official attendance this afternoon is 36,000.
This is the challenge with Sheringham. Does himself a little bit of damage. Really awkward fall. I think it's on Elliott.
And while Sheringham is continuing to receive treatment, the Geordie fans are getting more impatient about the fact that it's taking up so much valuable time. Jerry Francis off the bench showing some concern about the injury, although inwardly he must be delighted at the way the match itself is going. It would actually be sweet revenge for Jerry Francis if Spurs were to get into Europe at Arsenal's expense, because as a player his one opportunity in Europe took him to the quarter-finals of the UEFA Cup in 1976 against AEK Athens. He scored in the first leg and then was injured against Arsenal and missed the second leg when Rangers lost out and their ambitions ended. But Sheringham, who may well be partnering Les Ferdinand in Euro 96, is still receiving treatment, while Jason Dezell's goal may well be the one that takes Spurs back into European club competition.
Really clever play, isn't it, from Dezell? Peacock goes to ground, gives Dezell the space, curls it beautifully into the far corner.
Well, while Dezell is delighted, I think it's fair to say that despite the blood that's clearly coming from Sheringham's mouth after that fall with Elliott, Newcastle's supporters think it's just a bit of gamesmanship using up their valuable time. It's anything but. In actual fact, another time will be added on anyway. And a latest score from Main Road. Manchester City have pulled a goal back against Liverpool. They're still trailing 2-1, but Uwe Rosler has scored with a penalty. Here's Asprilla. Ferdinand, Lee and Watson all available in the box. It's Ferdinand! Goal number 29 of the season for Les Ferdinand, and huge relief on Tyneside. The last thing they want is to finish the season with defeat. Ferdinand has drawn them level.
Well, I was wanting something different for Newcastle. I thought Asprilla could provide it. He does exactly that. Tricks Mabbutt. Ferdinand's in. Brilliant bit of individual play from Asprilla. Really does trick Mabbutt. Little back flick, early crossing. Ferdinand reacts first.
The goal may have come too late to change the championship picture, and Middlesbrough are doing Newcastle no favours anyway. But it would be an awful end to the season if Newcastle's home record was to be further dented by defeat. And at least it seems they've gone part of the way to avoiding that possibility. Hasn't done Tottenham's European ambitions any favours, though. Kevin Keegan's sale of Andy Cole precipitated the signing of Les Ferdinand. Cole has played an important role in Manchester United seemingly securing the championship. Ferdinand, though, is still hungry for more goals.
I'll tell you what's going through Kevin Keegan's mind now. Should I have played Asprilla from the start?
And should he?
Now, having selected the side on Thursday, away from home with two wide players, having gone so near to winning at Nottingham Forest, he had to play that system at home.
Asprilla's lay off again, though, and it's Ferdinand once more. Faustino Asprilla! He's livened things up, hasn't he?
Great play, wasn't it, between the two of them? He knew he had to shoot early, just couldn't quite keep it down. But he really has brought St James's Park to life. He really is a colourful player in every sense of the word. When he's on the field, something always going to happen. And the bit of football he did against Mabbutt to completely outfox him was absolutely from the top drawer.
Sheringham curling this one in. Cleared as far as David Batty. This is Watson. The tangle between Batty and Armstrong off the ball that the referee had spotted. He's given Newcastle a free kick. Anderton. Good play from Lee. This is Ginola. Asprey is available. Overreached for him. Just beyond his range.
Well, Asprey has found himself in a little bit of space here. If the ball had been right, it would have been goal number 2 for Newcastle.
Latest score from Upton Park. West Ham 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Julian Dix scoring the goal. So Wednesday can be a little relieved that Manchester City's predicament is as it is. They're trailing Liverpool 2-1. Oh! Off the bar! Lee Clark it was who reached out for what seemed a lost cause, and the shot hits the goal frame. Here's Asprey, and a disappointing end to a move of such promise. Asprey himself, who's really livened things up, and Clark almost completed the Newcastle revival.
Well, you'd have thought Mabbutt was favourite there. I think perhaps he got a little nudge. Could have been a free kick. Little push from Clark on Mabbutt, but a great effort from Lee Clark.
St James's Park singing again from a positive hymn sheet. They're far happier with this second half performance, and Jason Dozell's goal really has brought Newcastle to life. Here's Lee Clark. Given away, Armstrong tracking back. Fox. Howells. Flick on by Dozell. Latest score from Highbury. Arsenal 0, Bolton 1, and Andy Todd, the son of the manager, has got the goal. And now the battle could be on for the European place between Spurs and Blackburn, who of course are leading at Chelsea. So Arsenal trailing.
Rob, there are a lot of things to admire in this game, but the one thing we must mention are the fitness levels of these two sets of teams. Certainly the last 13 or 14 minutes is going to be a battle of the fittest players, because really it's been a demanding week for both lots. Newcastle, 3 games in 6 days. Spurs have had also a very, very demanding time, having played on Thursday. So I think in the last few minutes we're going to see 1 or 2 more goals.
Lee trying to cut the ball across it. Ginola in space, and he tried to place it, and he lifted it too high over Walker's goal.
Well, that's really careless play here from Ginola. What fantastic vision from Robert Lee. That's careless. You know, the least you can do there is test the goalkeeper. Walker's had to do nothing.
Here's Calderwood. See just how things have livened up in the second half. It's been a tale of Newcastle season that they've created so many chances and yet still only managed the 1 goal from Les Ferdinand. Asprey, though, looking to add to it. Challenged by Calderwood, he still gets the effort in. Tottenham grateful to Walker being in the right place at the right time.
Well, once again, the unexpected Asprey comes up with. Who would have thought he'd have got a shot in there? A little bit more power. May have found his way into the back of the net. But what he does provide, Rob, is that little bit of extra pace that only Ferdinand can give. Beardsley obviously drops off into a deeper area, he can't give it. But Asprey provides that extra bit of injection of pace.
Here's Ginola. Batty forcing it through, and the return from Asprilla just wouldn't land for them. Here's Ginola. He's left Wilson behind, and maybe he was a little greedy there because Asprilla and Ferdinand were both to his right, and he thought he could do it all on his own.
Yeah, he should have done what Asprilla did for the goal, drove it into the near post. He beats Wilson easily and then elects to shoot himself. A really impossible angle.
Now, there may be some life injected into the relegation battle yet, because at Main Road, Manchester City have drawn level. It's 2-2 now with Liverpool, and Kit Symons has got that goal. So if Manchester City were to take the lead there, then Southampton and Coventry might start sweating. And if they were to get goals, Sheffield Wednesday above them are trailing at West Ham to a Julian Dix goal. And just to make you aware of the European picture as it stands at the moment, Arsenal may be trailing and Spurs drawing here, but on goal difference as it stands, Blackburn are the team in the driving seat with their 3-1 lead at Chelsea. So Jerry Francis's European dream may not yet be realised. Here's Dazelle, scorer of the opening goal. Sheringham! A hurried shot from Teddy Sheringham that caused his lot no real trouble.
And a really difficult skill. If this had gone in, well, you won't see a finer goal. Certainly this season and for seasons to come.
Sheringham may well be partnering Les Ferdinand at Euro 96. A lot, of course, hinges on Alan Shearer's fitness. Ferdinand climbing for the flick on there. They were partners to good effect against Bulgaria when Sheringham set up Ferdinand's goal. It was only the second time they played together in international colours. Here's Colombia's Asprilla. Good break from Asprilla. He's left Edinburgh for dead, and David Batty, who really gave Ian Walker a thorough workout in the first half, couldn't make the most of Asprilla's excellent work.
Absolutely brilliant play from Asprilla. Watson wanted the pull back, gives it to Batty, takes him by surprise. Good chance though. Fortunately it fell to Batty. He's not too accustomed to being in that 6-yard box.
Most of the efforts he's had have been from distance. Both of those today in the first half were from outside the 18-yard area. Headed by Calderwood. Here's Clark. Ginola. Albert challenging, and he got the head to the ball. Spurs were claiming for a foul on Mabbott.
Yeah, I was watching Albert. He went forward, elected to stay there when the ball went wide, found himself at the back post with Mabbott. Little push. There was no free kick.
Tony Gallagher not impressed. Here's Sheringham. Clark. 5 Newcastle players now across the halfway line. This is Ginola. Spurs, though, have plenty of players back. Even Armstrong has come back deep into his own half. Asprilla. Peacock has come forward. Asprilla working his magic past Howells. No match for Calderwood, though. Watson. Header away by Mabbott. And Batty trying to line it up again.
The difference is now, Rob, just look how many players Newcastle are getting forward. OK, they're really taking a chance. But whereas before there were only perhaps 2 players in that penalty box, when they attacked there with that Asprilla in possession, they had 5 players in attacking areas.
Newcastle favourite, who had such a tremendous reception on his return to the club, is going off, and Ronnie Rosenthal is coming on to take his place. Here's Sheringham, and the challenge by Robbie Elliott. Well, it looks all over bar the shouting now, because at the Riverside Stadium, Manchester United have increased their lead over Middlesbrough to 3-0, and Ryan Giggs is the man who's got the goal. Now Everton are suddenly in the driving seat for Europe, because they've taken the lead against Aston Villa, and Joe Parkinson is the man who scored it. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest have extended their lead over Queen's Park Rangers to 3-0, and Steve Howe has scored the 3rd goal. Challenge for that last European place then really hotting up, and Arsenal will be kicking themselves at trailing at home to Bolton. Sheringham has become ever more ambitious with his shooting and the range. Ronnie Rosenthal hoping to pep up the Spurs attack on his arrival to replace Fox. Aspria. Wilson with the back pass. Well, the European place has hotted up considerably, to the extent that Arsenal have now turned around the deficit. They're 2 on ahead of Bolton. David Platt and Dennis Bergkamp have put the North Londoners back in pole position for playing in the UEFA Cup next season. Ever-changing picture. Clark. There's Lee. Aspria. And this is Ginola. And the Clark cross comes off Clive Wilson and goes behind for a corner.
Well, there haven't been too many occasions in this game when Newcastle have got 2-on-1. They've not really used the overlap, but they did on that occasion. Lee Clark was the man who provided it for this man in possession, Ginola.
Ginola's cross. Here's Lee. Laid off to Watson. This is Aspria. Could have been one of the goals of the season had that been a little lower. Instinctive strike.
Well, just look at the men Newcastle have got forward. 8 players around the penalty box. Aspria from the edge of the box, outside his right foot on the volley. Fantastic effort.
Newcastle may know that the championship dream is lost, but their determination to end on a winning note is admirable. They're not content with just a point, and Aspria is at the heart of their attempts to make sure that it's a win. Watson playing the ball through towards Clark, and another chance for Ferdinand, denied by Walker. Here's Aspria. Might still break for Batty, he just couldn't keep it in play. But Walker, right place, right time again, and Ferdinand couldn't stick it past him.
Well, once again, Lee Clark's the man who provides it. Fantastic header, but a truly brilliant save from Walker.
Walker just spread himself, hopefully, and he was at the right point to deny Ferdinand a 2nd goal. Armstrong, Rosenthal available. Sheringham was in there as well. penalised.
Complaints from the crowd because they wanted Asprey in possession, they wanted the advantage rule. And Mr. Gallagher pulled Asprey back, gives them a chance, and a chance also for Albert with his famous left foot to give Newcastle victory.
Albert has got a thunderous shot on him from free kicks. Manchester United can testify to that. That one hit the bar, but this one goes well over, doesn't even trouble the crossbar. Time, Trevor, for you to nominate your Carling Premiership Man of the Match.
There's so many outstanding performances, Rob, in this game, but I'm going to give it to somebody. Just leave it there as Armstrong breaks clear, but the linesman giving him offside. Now I'm going to give it to somebody who's not actually on the field at the moment, but obviously he must have gone off through injury because he was absolutely outstanding. And I think with him going off, it really changed the course of the game, allowed Newcastle to come back into it, and that man is Sol Campbell.
Here's Clark. Lee. All trying the lofted efforts now that Asprey has set the pattern. There's Sol Campbell, Trevor Francis's man of the match for an outstanding performance. Again, he played similarly well in the 1-1 draw at White Hart Lane against Ferdinand earlier in the season.
Yeah, saw him yawning there, he must be tired.
Who knows, he may still have some work to do beyond the end of the season for England's cause. Sure, he's very much a part of Terry Venable's thoughts. Clark. Here's Batty. Oh. Batty's control let him down.
That's tiredness, Rob, creeping in. The last 2 or 3 minutes, 1 or 2 uncharacteristic errors from these Newcastle players. They really have had a very, very tough schedule. They've given everything here today to get themselves back into this game. The crowd have helped them.
Clark. Lee. Back by Darren Peacock. Here's Lee. Steve Watson. Good run by Watson. Finally cut out by Edinburgh.
I have to say, Rob, the last half an hour has been Newcastle, Cavalier style, really back to their greats. Their early style of early in the season. It's been outstanding.
Could put a dampener on it, though. Albert with the header behind from that swift Tottenham break.
They really have thrown caution to the wind. The only problem is that when they do lose possession, like you saw there, they have to do some real defending. They were faced there 3-on-3. Last minute, tired legs. Very, very demanding for them.
Well, they were looking for Sheringham. It's Howells! Oh! Now was it blocked by his own man? I think it was Armstrong who actually blocked it.
Well, that was an unbelievable situation. Howell thought he had scored, but look at Armstrong.
Well, and Newcastle suddenly are at the other end. And the final whistle has gone at the Riverside Stadium. Manchester United are the Premiership champions after their 3-0 victory at Middlesbrough. And the final whistle has gone to at St James's Park on a season in which Newcastle have won a lot of friends for the style in which they played their football, but they end it empty-handed in terms of trophies. Les Ferdinand's goal ensures that at least they finish the season with a point. They've been beaten only once at St James's Park this season. That was by Manchester United. So Newcastle can hardly argue that Manchester United aren't worthy champions. There have been some heroic performances throughout the season, notably from the supporters. We've seen their tears at many stages during a campaign which at one stage saw them comfortably in the lead. A lot of people blame the signing of Asprilla for the fact that what at one stage was a 12-point lead was gradually whittled away, and the title ended up at Old Trafford. The consolation for Newcastle may well be that now 2 seasons running, the team that has finished runners-up has gone on to win it the following year. First Blackburn and now Manchester United. And Newcastle, after all the inquests of the summer, must regroup and hope that they can follow on in similar style. And we can hear from Newcastle's captain now, Peter Beardsley, talking to our reporter George Gavin.
Peter, first of all, thanks on behalf of all football fans everywhere for great entertainment and great football all season. But at the end of the day, as they say, you haven't won anything this season, have you?
No, that's right. I think certainly today's game might cost us a chance of winning today's game with my bad stop with ball in midfield. You know, always push us behind and we're always chasing the game. You know, we're all credit to Man United. They've gone in winning style and probably deserve to win overall.
Looking back, any major regrets over the season?
No, we can't think like that. You know, it happens, you know, where sometimes you think you should have won, but to be fair, there's a few games where we probably should have lost. So it evens out over a season, that's probably fair.
And how about next season now, when you do look ahead finally? Do you go for it again?
Yeah, we've got to. You know, I mean, we finished second. Until we finish first, we won't really achieve anything. So that's got to be our aim.
And Manchester United, they've taken the title. A word for them?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. No problem at all. It's my brother-in-law is a Man U fan. I'm pleased for him, but it's disappointing after all our hard work to end up with nothing.
And a word for the fans here. Have been tremendous all season, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased and I think they're the best, you know, but the way they've sang today, they obviously knew the result from Middlesbrough, but they've sang and they've kept singing, and no doubt they'll be singing for a few hours yet.
Peter, well played. We look forward to next season.
Thank you very much.
Well, I have to confess I didn't hear a word Peter Beardsley said there, because the noise in the stadium is immense, and it's good to see the Newcastle supporters ending the season on such a high note and giving their team a rapturous send-off. Final comment on the season, Trevor?
Well, we've seen a few tears recently, haven't we, at Newcastle games, but today there's no tears, just appreciation, I think, of the season of great football that we've seen from this side. They know that Newcastle have given everything, but I think it's fair to say the best team won, and that was Manchester United.
Valiant efforts then from Newcastle throughout the course of the season, and those supporters will appreciate that. The season has ended with a 1-1 draw. Jason Dezell's goal having been cancelled out by Les Ferdinand, but supporters who've had some horrendous trips back from matches where they've suffered terrible defeats at least end the season wreathed in smiles because of the point gained here. Tottenham it was, of course, who took the lead in this match through Jason Dezell.
It's a brilliant piece of football. Armstrong does well initially to keep it in the box. Fox a little ball with his knee, but then Dezell does the rest. Peacock goes to ground. Casually, Dezell doesn't look for power, goes for accuracy, just curls it into the far corner.
And Les Ferdinand in the first home draw of the season.
Well, this is absolutely top drawer play from Asprilla. Completely tricks Mabert. Ferdinand reacts. He gets the equaliser with a great goal.
Les Ferdinand scored 29 goals. He said, you really want to do it for these supporters. They give you the hunger to succeed. Well, the ultimate success of the championship was not there, and the 69-year wait will go on for at least a year longer. For a team formed 115 years ago, the fact that they last won the championship when George V was king is a hard cross to bear. But they are hopeful that the team, with all the money invested in it, is moving along the right lines, and with passionate support like they've provided, who's to say that they won't succeed next season where they failed in this. Afterwards, we'll have the cricket for you here on Sky Sports 2. You can be part of the Manchester United title celebrations by joining us on Sky Sports. But the news from Newcastle is that after a 1-1 draw, their title ambitions finally drifted away. So from James's Park, from all of us, a very good evening to you.
Sky Sports with Ford.
With Newcastle United will stay. He is so important to the whole belief in the football club.
I can't believe Martin Kevin Keegan doesn't want to feel the way Alex Ferguson feels today as a manager. I can't believe it.
And as they always say, you have to experience the pain to really appreciate the pleasure. Alex Ferguson a year ago was trying to whip up the spirits of his side that had finished second in the FA Carling Premiership to get them ready for a cup final. Well, now his problem is picking the team for the cup final. A little word there for David Beckham.
Do that, haven't they?
Yeah, it would have been frightening if to try and imagine what it would be like if we'd have won it, you know. But maybe our turn will come. You know, there's a lot of pluses to this season. The biggest pluses at this club are the people you've just watched, 35,000 here today, and another 20,000 would love to get in. But we're still trying to build a team as good as them. We're very close now, but we're not quite there.
From what you're saying there, the speculation in the papers is nonsense.
It's absolute garbage. You know, I'll be here next year. We've brought a lot of players here. We've spent a lot of money. We've reinvested the money the fans have put into this club. That's what we've done. And I've always seen that as one of my jobs as manager. We've brought some wonderful characters. We've brought some excellent players from abroad with great technique. And we've got another year now to start next season, really, a good close season together to integrate them all. And, you know, at times this year we showed what we can do. Our congratulations go to Man United, I mean, and the supporters. Tremendous thing to catch us. I mean, you know, I mean, everyone talks about our collapse, but they don't really do credit to Man United, who, with all the young players in the side and 3 or 4 old heads, have turned round what looked like an impossible situation. So, you know, we're good losers up here as well. Congratulations to them. They'll be great representatives of this league in Europe. I wished it had been us, but it's not to be.
A few tears in the dressing room here, Kevin?
Not really, no. I think, you know, we're big enough to take it on the chin. We knew today that it would be difficult. We knew Middlesbrough would give Man United a fight down there, but in that situation, you always had to fancy them. They just had a little bit more to play for, and they'd worked so hard to put themselves in that position. Anyway, we didn't really do what we had to do here either, so, you know, we can't complain.
Would you change any decisions you made during the season, Kevin, looking back now?
Well, with the benefit of hindsight, you might change some decisions, but, you know, they've all been made in good faith, all for the right reasons. I mean, I think we've been pillared in the press for every time you do something in this country. You know, I signed a forward, Faustino Spiller, who today was magnificent for the last half hour when he came on. And people say, if they blame him for what happened here, that would be an absolute travesty. The boys played well. David Batty has been sensational. And maybe we've got to look at some of the other players who didn't quite see the season out. Maybe we've got to look at the training, things like that. But, no, I still think my best signing here was Terry McDermott. He's the best signing ever made. The rest are way behind him, I can tell you. So
it's recharge the batteries and come back and go for it again?
Yeah, we've got time now to go and, well, we'll watch a bit of European football and see if we can learn anything from that. I'd like to go around and watch some of the way some of these teams train. I'm sure a lot of managers will. We'll be looking in the transfer market, but, you know, I don't think there'll be quite as much money there as there has been in the past. I think the chairman says the pen's going dry on the chequebook. But they've given me marvellous support, the board of directors at this club, and, you know, it's down, you know, if people think I've made mistakes, I think I've got to be man enough to say, well, yeah, I did, but made them for the right reasons, and I think people all over the country have enjoyed watching us. And I think, you know, to be fair, Sky have done a great job this season. You can congratulate yourselves on that, not just for Newcastle United, but for the whole of English football and Scottish football. I think you do a great job, and we look forward to seeing next year. We'll still be playing the same way. We'll be scoring goals and letting them in. We'll be taking the plaudits and taking the criticism. But it's been a great season, and, you know, next year, when you think about it, I'm already looking ahead. Liverpool are going to be around. I certainly think Jerry France has got the makings of a great side here. I mean, they came up here today, and I thought they played some great stuff at times. They deserved the point they got here. And then, of course, there'll be Man United. The kids will add a bit more experience under the belts, and they may even sign some more. So it's going to be another great season. And the only disappointment for me today is Man City gone down. Yeah, well, for Franny and Alan Ball, I'm really disappointed. That is they'll come back from that, and I wish them good luck. And for everybody else who stayed up, big Ron and that, well done. We'll see you next year, Ron. Get some champagne in. Win, lose or draw, me and Terry Michael will be drinking.
That's a certainty. Kevin, once again, thank you very much indeed for a wonderful season.
God bless. I played well, didn't I?
What is he like?
Good loser.
Great loser. Kevin Keegan, who's already looking forward to the next campaign, and the whistle's hardly blown on this. And the speculation, of course, that the two were referring to suggestions in the press this morning that Kevin Keegan would walk away from Newcastle today. Garbage is his reaction to that. He is not going anywhere. And with reference to Terry McDermott, Paul, you know the two of them.